Afternoon, everyone. Dr. Raman Patel, Provost, Parul University, respected Dr. Abhay Dharamse, sir, Dean, Faculty of Pharmacy, Dr. J.S. Chakravarti, Principal, Parul Institute of Pharmacy and Research, Dr. Lalit Lataja, Principal, School of Pharmacy, Dr. Sri Lakshmi Desraju, CEO and co-founder of Triface Pharmaceutical Private Limited, Karnataka, India, faculty members, and my dear students. On behalf of Faculty of Pharmacy, Parul University, I welcome you all in webinar series on women entrepreneurship and research, challenges and opportunities. Today's webinar series 1 on technology commercialization and women entrepreneurial journey in association with the Women Development Cell of Parul University. For this session, we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Sri Lakshmi Desraju. I heartily welcome you, ma'am, for the webinar. Let me introduce Dr. Sri Lakshmi Desraju, and it's my honor to introduce her. Madam is currently working as a CEO, co-founder of Triface Pharmaceutical Private Limited, which is a probiotic and R&D company. She has done PhD in chemistry from Vikram University, postdoctoral studies from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and MBA in technology and commercialization from University of Alberta, Canada. She was working as a senior research scientist and business development associate at Niger Pharmaceutical Inc., Edmonton, Canada. She has an industrial knowledge of out licensing deals, R&D services, B2B marketing, B2C marketing, with accomplished career spanning over 22 years in this domain, and with experience in both the pharma and nutra industry as well as academia. She is a proficient in the process of designing, launching, and running a new business. As a first generation entrepreneur, she has also experience in getting funding from different firms, successfully achieved debt financing from the bank, and then successfully procured a series. So also having a ability in management of intellectual property and technology transfer. She has having a strong publication record, both scientific as well as the business journals. So some of the accomplished are first US, European and Canadian patent award in 2018, 22, 2020 and 21. And then Economic Times awarded by the Power of Idea award in 2016. And Innovation Excellence Award from the Federation of Karnataka Chambers of Commerce in 2015. Featured in Biospectrum as a women entrepreneur in December 2017. India's Small Giant Award for the most promising small and medium-sized company in 2014. Business Women of the Year awarded by the Emerge in 2014. So currently, she is looking at expanding the business passionately with the US, Canadian, and European pattern in hand. So welcome you, ma'am. If any students or any faculty have any questions during the webinar, you have to type in the chat window. I will transfer after during the end of the session. Okay. Now I hand over to Dr. Sri Lakshmi Madam to begin the session. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Manisha. And it's absolute pleasure and privilege to be here amongst all of you. Thank you, Lalit Lata ma'am, and the principal sir, as well as the dean faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Parul University. It's my pleasure and it's an honor to be here to speak about my journey as an entrepreneur. But at the same time, giving a much more flavor as to, because people are from pharmaceutical sciences here as well as from other areas, but giving them much more flavor as to, if you take a technology you take a technology and how you take a technology to a about power, it is about a responsibility. तो है क्या entrepreneurship? Why is it that it is such a hyped word in today's world? Not that it was not there in the past for us. India has always been, it has a uh, uh, decade of history where entrepreneurs were there, and we did a lot of good things in both science as well as in the other parts of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneur क्या होते हैं actually, या बिजनेस पर्सन जो होते हैं वो क्या होते हैं? एक आइडिया लेते हैं जिसके ऊपर वो, जो कि आज की तारीख में या हम लोग जिस जिस माहौल में हैं उसमें उस आइडिया के ऊपर काम करने से कोई प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होता है. ओके, एंड इट कुड बी एज सिंपल एज कि चप्पल chappal could be, I mean, it's not a very great idea, but just I'm telling you so that it becomes easy for you to understand. So you take chappal क्यों बनाया था? क्योंकि because when you are walking in the heat, or when you are walking on the road, or when you are walking on anywhere in old times, the leg used to get hurt, and that's why they said, okay, something to cover at the bottom of the leg. Now that was one idea which somebody actually went through a process which is called entrepreneurship to create an object called chappal. Chappal has been there for God knows how many years or decades. But at the same time, this now again goes into the second twist where you take this chappal and now you make it beautiful chappal. You make it, the person like Bata is selling it for 99.99 rupees, and the same thing is being sold by a cobbler under the tree for less than that. Or now you have healthy chappals. You have some chappals which will do acupressure points for your legs so that your health becomes better, or you have chappals which are available for diabetes. So basically, what was the problem was that you had to cover the leg. Second problem was that along with covering the leg, can we give health benefits? So this is where somebody literally went through the process wherein they changed the existing point and brought in an object of innovation or creation and made something of which is impactful. So entrepreneurship is nothing but a person, a process creating an object is called entrepreneurship. Can we go to the next slide, please? I take in entrepreneurship what exactly is required. So as much as I can talk all kind of things, here it is just like the Chanakya Niti. I take it from there, from our old scripts, that you should have an idea. Idea is nothing but a leader. Leader means something that creates an impactful thing. And to take that idea to the next step, obviously you need finance. Without money you can't do anything. So you need finance to take that idea to the next step. For taking that idea along with the finance to the next step, I could not do it myself. So I needed a team, that is called HR, or there are the people who will also be like-minded like you, and they will take together this three things. There is an idea, there is a finance taking care of that idea, there is a people who are working on that idea, so finance is used there. And especially when we come to technology commercialization, one very important aspect is there, which is called intellectual property. So if you are inventing something new, if there is something new out there, then you need to go and say that I need to secure it. So once you secure that whole intellectual property, then that idea which makes impact using finance borrowed or taken from somewhere will, I don't have slide in front of me, please, will also be able to create an object of innovation there. And that is what entrepreneurship four-ring concept is. Especially in technology commercialization, the security plays a very important role, because unless you patent that idea, you will not be able to make a benefit out of that idea or that object of creation that you have done, which is changing the world. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Hello, Manisha, can we go to the next slide, please? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can we go to the next slide, please? So anyway, as we go forward, I'll just take it to, I know what might be the slides. If you guys can hear me, just send me a, show me a hand so that I can keep going on. Okay.
Madam, you are audible.
Okay, wonderful. So it is just that I can't see the next slide. That's why I was thinking. Okay, let me go to the next slide and then we will catch up whenever they are able to show me the slides. So what happens is, so entrepreneurship, whether it is you or whether it is somebody else, it doesn't matter. It is a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. But when a woman comes into an entrepreneurship, it's not that easy. Why it is not easy is, and I do not believe, not for once I believe in my life, that just because I'm a lady, I should be given concessions. There is no reason for us to get concessions in the whole picture of being an entrepreneur. You have to slog exactly the same way as the others are slogging out. But at the same time, we have to remember this, that when a woman comes out there to do entrepreneurship, it is, she has to worry about the morning coffee or tea that is made, to the evening dahi or yogurt that she has to set up. In between this whole thing, the anniversaries, the shadi biyah, the thing is the festivals and the relationships, and this and that and this, and there is a whole line of things that you have to take care of. Since women has not only to do, but a man generally, at least in Indian scenario, nowadays things have changed, but in an Indian scenario they wouldn't be doing this. So man comes back home and still thinks that he can just worry about only one part, that is doing his business or doing his things, but a lady cannot do it. The children's education is equally important, and so is important for her to take care of all the festivals. In between all these things, she also has to manage her work as well as an entrepreneurship. So this was a very beautiful tweet by Anand Mahindra, and I have never forgotten, where he has written it so clearly that in front of a woman there are 50 other things lined up, and also she has to become an entrepreneur. So generally, the active engagement in decision making takes a backstage. You might be financially independent, you are an independent lady on your own, but still when you go to buy the car, and you might actually know which tires to put on, and you might actually know how much torque the car has, which fuel it is going to take, does it have an ABS, or does it are you able to change the tire? But still, when you go to buy a car, you prefer your father, brother, or husband to be with you. So as much as we are free financially, we still, as a woman, active engagement in decision making is little less. So that's why women entrepreneurs have their own challenges that needs to be dealt with. We don't ask for any reservation, we just ask for pointing it out or hand holding us so that we can move faster. Can we go to the next slide, please? Is there a problem with the slides? Hello? Nikita, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
The slides are not changing. I don't know why.
I can hear you.
Okay. If I don't get the slides changing, it is going to be a little difficult. I remember.
One sec, I'm trying to get a whole. If I think you can try and change the slides yourself.
No, but then I need to get the slide changing. Yeah. Okay. Manisha is having problem with the. No, I cannot.
If you have the slides, you can send it to me and I can change it for you if you need it.
Okay. Can you see the slide?
Not yet.
Madam, we are facing internet issue.
I can imagine that.
Yes, ma'am.
She has to give me the sharing actually. Share an application window. I cannot share it actually.
Oh,
Madam, there is some network issue.
No problem. But then what do we do? We should continue or we should not?
could you send Miss Manisha? Could you send me the presentation or something like this?
I can send you.
Okay.
Just check, Nikita, if you got it.
Checking.
Yeah, you have the next slide, which is there actually. So we'll just keep going on. Wherever we find problem, Nikita, if you can just pinch it. Okay. Now, can you go to the back one slide behind? Yeah. So as much as I said that the women entrepreneurs have 50 other problems, this is okay. I am done here. Can we go to the next slide, please, Manisha? So as much as I say that women entrepreneurs have 50 other problems, we still have role models in our own country. We don't have to go outside. And these role models have not only impacted within India, they have impacted actually on the world stage. First one was Mrs. Dr. Kang, and she has been part of the COVID his story from the last year. The next one is Anu Acharya. She runs a Map My Genome company, which actually tells you कि शादी की कुंडलियां मत मिलाओ, अपना genome मिलाओ, because that is more important for you to actually live a healthy life. Then we have the Apollo director, Dr. Reddy. No, every single person knows, I think so, Dr. Majumdar Shah, Kiran Majumdar Shah, and she is one such person who has really brought Indian biotech actually on the world stage, let alone that she is a woman. We also have Pepsi, Indra Nooyi, and Indra Nooyi might not be a real innovator or an entrepreneur from the biotech world, but she has changed the way Pepsi functioned, and Pepsi has now a healthy snack division because of her. And one such person which I really take pride in talking about is Kalpana Saroj. This lady went through really hard times in her life, but the grit and determination that this lady brought in, I don't see many people of that kind of grit. Married at the young age of 8 or 10, this lady suffered at the hands of her husband, then her husband as well as her in-laws, to the extent that her father went visiting her, and I met her in person, and I know what kind of person this one is. She is a very strong lady, but a very humble person. Today runs a conglomerate, not even one single thing. She runs a conglomerate of industries, which is valued at more than 1,500 crores or above. I have deep respects for Kalpana Saroj, because all the others at least got education from the parents, and we did what we did, small or big. But this one lady I know who has really gone through the grit, which is a typical Indian household, coming from a tier 3 or village, actually not even a tier 3 city. Can we go to the next slide? So with all these role models, I don't see any one of us saying that we don't know what we are doing, or we as a women should get more advantage. I don't believe in that, but yes, because we have to take care of so many things, that's why there is a reason that we believe that we should get some pointers: the market access, the way to do business, the finance. If some pointers can be given to us, I think we are much more in a better state than what it would be for the rest of other than if not given. Today's topic is mostly for technology and commercialization. I am a scientist myself. Believe me, I come from a very small place. I come from a place in Madhya Pradesh called Ujjain. I don't even know how many of you know it. But from Baroda, it is 6 hours of run, and it is some 350 kilometers or something like that. But the point what I'm trying to say here is, if you can dream sitting in a small place like Ujjain, I'm very sure all of you can do it if you want to do something there. As much as born in a typical academic family, I did my education as I was told. I did not really go totally out of the scope of what my family did. My both parents were professors, and they gave me the education which I cannot thank enough for, or the gratitude that I have for imparting this beautiful thing to me, which allowed me to today stand in front of you and talk about myself or my journey. As a scientist, I did my, obviously, because my parents were professors, I did my science bachelor's, BSc, MSc, and then I went, we did not have pharmacy at there as a separate subject. We had only zoology, botany. So typical of everybody, I also joined the sheep or the rat race, and I joined in chemistry department, and I did my PhD. After finishing the PhD for postdoctoral, I went off to NCL Pune and then IISc. Actually, going for NCL Pune and IISc also has a beautiful story. I was already having a job at an engineering college in Ujjain, and my parents were all, after doing PhD, middle class parents from tier 2 city, कि अब शादी हो जाना चाहिए, settle हो जाना चाहिए. Their definition of settle was that I get a job and I just settle down. That is something is not my definition. So as soon as I went for my teaching in second semester, I was not even opening my books. I used to simply go and teach to the students, which kind of scared me that I'm not going to learn further anything. And I have deep respects for teaching profession because my parents are from there and I have done it myself. But at the same time, that was not for me. I wanted something different, and I quit this government engineering job and I went off to do my postdoctoral. Come 1999, 2000, got married, and that's why, and then that's when I applied for immigration to Canada and went off to Canada working for Pfizer. While I was working there, I realized it quickly that in some 8 years or some 6 years that I was working, I realized it quickly that if you are a part of the technical team, you can do only so much. The decisions are made by the management, and the management makes decision based on God knows what. And this is where I realized that I need to do something different, and got into an MBA program in Alberta and did something in technology commercialization. Now, what is technology commercialization? Technology commercialization is nothing but you come up with a technology and you see what is the market access to it, or what is the market opportunity to it, and how you can actually take this technology and have multiple markets so that you can make revenue from different sources. Making revenue from one source is not possibility in a business. So that is what actually this technology commercialization taught me. And I came back to India in 2009 and started on this journey of getting into technology commercialization. Can we go? So there are different ways, different steps when you go through technology commercialization. You have a research or market pain you call up. Then there is a solution. Then there is competitive advantage. Then there is intellectual property. And I'll take you through the journey that I have gone through in Triphase under each of this heading to tell you what exactly how this technology can be changed into a product or monetized into a product. Can we go to the next slide? Manisha, can we go to the now? Okay, so this is another diagrammatic representation which shows us that what is exactly you take a technology and do what, and which technology can go to the market and which technology cannot go to the market. There are many technologies we all work upon, but you have to figure out which are these technologies which will go into the market. So there is an assessment phase. Assessment phase में होता क्या है कि आपको जो टेक्नोलॉजी आप लेके आ रहे हो, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इज इट सॉल्विंग अ प्रॉब्लम. एंड इट नीड नॉट बी कि मैं कैंसर क्योर करने निकल गया हूं या मैं जो है वो कुछ और करने बड़ा वाला काम करने निकला हूं. ऑल इट नीड्स इज यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड वेदर यू आर एबल टू असेस दैट टेक्नोलॉजी टू सी इट्स मल्टीपल एप्लीकेशन एंड टेक दैट टेक्नोलॉजी और उसको इम्प्लीमेंट रियली करके हम बाजार में उसका प्रोडक्ट ला सकते हैं कि नहीं. That is all it is. Of course, this I have taken slide from Michigan Tech because they have explained it very nicely. How each phase has to go, where you say no, where you say yes, and we move on to the next phase so that we know very quickly, without spending too much of money and without spending time, we know that a particular technology is commercializable or not. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so we take the first one, that is the market pain. Now what is market pain? ये सारा MBA के jargons है, basically MBA के words है. MBA में सिखाते हैं कि बड़ा बड़ा word बोलो ताकि तुम्हारा impression रहेगा. Not really, because when I think about it, it's actually true. So I am in the area called probiotic. Now, when I say probiotic, the nearest to you, I'm pretty sure you are from pharmacy people, you all know what probiotics are. But the nearest to probiotic, a product which is there in the market, it is called Yakult. And the nearest probiotic that you have in your house every single day is dahi. Or you must be having khamand, or you must be having dosa, or you must be having idli. Any fermented food is the reason for it to become fermented is because of the probiotics or the bacteria which impart good bacteria which are required by your system. And that's why when a mother gives birth to a child, it gives how you make dahi, right? You take a small culture, you add to the lukewarm milk and everything turns into dahi, right? Same way your mother has given this small culture to you. And when she has given this small culture to you, over the period, whatever you ate, whatever you put inside your stomach, that is where the good bacteria, they find their food and they multiply. And when you come to an age of 25 or 30, you have trillions of bacteria which are responsible for your immunity. Now, immunity is a very big word these days because of COVID. कोरोना जब से आया है हर कोई इम्यूनिटी बढ़ा रहा है, चाहे काढ़ा पी के बढ़ाए, चाहे कषायम पी के बढ़ाए, चाहे गोलियां खा के बढ़ाए. एवरी सिंगल पर्सन सेज आई एम इंक्रीजिंग इम्यूनिटी. मीन्स व्हाट? Means your body should have a self defense, and for that self defense probiotics play a very large role in by excreting something called short chain fatty acid. तो वो lactic acid देते हैं, वो H2O2 देते हैं, they give out propionic acid and they take out butyric acid. So all bacteria are not probiotic, but the probiotic bacteria need to give you lactic acid production. They reduce sugar, they give antimicrobial peptide, and they also consume CO2. So these are the four things because of which a bacteria is called probiotics. And these good bacteria are required by your system to the extent that now your gut is called as second brain. Gut is the only organ in your body which is directly attached to your brain, and 1/100th of a nanosecond, the information keeps going on. So you know for sure. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, you know for sure if you had a constipation or if you had a diarrhea, your brain doesn't work. So this is the reason why probiotics are so important in our lives. So what was the market pain of these probiotics? आपके घरों में आप दही रखते हैं, डोसा का बैटर रखते हैं, या कोई भी fermented food रखिए, 2 दिन, even in the rainy season, 2 days or 3 days, you keep it outside, it goes bad. You have to turn it into a curry to eat it, or you have to throw it off because it is smelling now. Now, once this happens, the more the things of these kinds happen, that means. But the same thing, if you keep it in the fridge, it is available. It is available to you for next 3-4 days, क्या 7 days तक available रहता है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि this bacteria is stable only in the cold storage or cold chain or cold place, that is in the fridge where the temperature is between 2 to 8 degrees, but it is not possible to put this bacteria on the room temperature. आप सोचिए, दही को अगर आप टेबल पे छोड़ के 8 दिन बाद भी खाएं and if it is not bad, then definitely you have an edge. You don't need a refrigerator to put or save the dahi. Or similarly other foods. In probiotic, the most biggest market pain was they were neither temperature stable nor pH stable. So we had the formulators and manufacturers of people who were using probiotic to fortify the food. You find Amul ice cream with probiotics. You find a lot of dairy products with probiotics. So there was a significant challenge that you could do only limited industry applications. क्यों? क्योंकि ना तो temperature stable था, ना pH stable था. Can we go to the next slide, please? So medium of consumption जो था, that was less, and that especially people who cannot digest milk and milk products, उनके लिए तो ये और भी बड़ी problem थी. उनके लिए इसलिए बड़ी problem थी इसकी क्योंकि they cannot digest, and all the probiotic fortified foods are in dairy segment. Right? So that is where these people had realized that medium of consumption is limited. You can't keep everything, has to go in cold chain. Obviously, all these things became expensive and was not in actual उनका benefit जिनको मिलना चाहिए उन लोगों को नहीं मिल पा रहा था because they were not temperature stable or pH stable. Can we go to the next slide, please? So obviously with the limited alternative, with the limited application, with the manufacturing problem, with the restricted label claims and high overages, अगर आप कोई probiotic आप लोगों के यहाँ कोई बाहर से अगर आता है और उनको बोलो आपकी कोई probiotic bottle लेकर आए, उस पे लिखा रहेगा 250 billion, 300 billion. Actually probiotic इतना लगता नहीं है हमको. Body says and FDA has given rule that you need to take only 1 to 5 billion bacteria every day. This is FDA का rule है ये, and this is after they have done a lot of clinical trials. तो 200 billion हम क्यों खाएं? 60 billion हम क्यों खाएं? The reason is because cold chain में रखना पड़ता है. तो लेबल जो रहता है actually इसके ऊपर जो हमारे लेबल क्लेम रहता है उसको to make that happen, people have to add 200 times or 300 times. That's why you see those kind of numbers there, but actually your body doesn't require. Even Yakult में भी यही problem है Indian scenario में. गाड़ी में आता है which is temperature controlled. It comes up to this retail, it is temperature control. बड़ा retail है तो they will maintain the temperature control because it is kept in the fridge within the retail also. But अगर जो कोने का किराना व्यापारी है, when he goes home, he is basically switching off everything. Now when he is switching off everything, 12 घंटे अगर वो Yakult is sitting in that cold chain, so-called cold chain, it is not there at all. By the time you are actually taking and drinking from there, you are drinking the dead bacteria. You are not really drinking because you see a sedimentation at the bottom. So there is a problem with all these probiotics which are temperature dependent, which have to maintain cold chain, which is a very big problem, at least in India. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what did we do? What did we do? So now we have defined कि मार्केट पेन क्या है. वी हैव डिफाइंड कि अच्छा इस पे रिसर्च करना जरूरी है. किस में रिसर्च करना जरूरी है कि आर वी एबल टू टेक केयर ऑफ दिस टेम्परेचर डिपेंडेंसी एंड पीएच डिपेंडेंसी. सो नाउ व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन दैट वी डिड? कैन वी गो टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज? And that solution became the unique selling proposition for us. Again, I'm MBA wording, but it has meaning here. So what we did was we made a technology at Triphase in Mysore, which is called strain boost technology, where we took the naturally occurring gut bacteria and converted them into high temperature stable without genetic modifying or without enteric coating. We were able to make this product stable up to 240 degrees centigrade. So when we could do that, that is where the whole technology now made some sense. Why? Because the technology what you had was now void of any cold chain altogether. You could take out the cold chain. Can we go to the next slide? You could take out the cold chain altogether and still the bacteria was stable. The shelf life increased. The product stability increased. The label claim was much better. We have a product which is stable up to 24 months. The probiotic that we have under our strain boost technology, we have, and then the ingredient is added to other product to fortify it. The shelf life of that product is changing. The supply chain, which was the biggest hassle, came down because now you did not require cold chain to move the product from point A to point 0. And other important which we got was, it was not genetically modified. It is a non-GMO. The mother strain, that is the strain which is freeze dried, we put it on our platform technology and we convert it into high temperature stable strain. So in this case, when we do that, when we do this conversion, obviously, and it is on all the natural gut bacteria, not the Bifidus anaerobic strains, but aerobic strains. We have tried it and we have been successful. So initially we did not realize it. हम लोगों को Lactobacillus acidophilus को हम कर पाए. Lactobacillus acidophilus is already a very very strong strain. So we thought कि अच्छा ये तो वैसे भी hardy strain है. It has converted. It is not so. After that we converted 7 more strain and we realized actually this was not even the idea when I started this company, that we have now a platform technology. कहीं से भी Lactobacillus का स्ट्रेन लेकर आओ, हम उसको कन्वर्ट करके टेम्परेचर स्टेबल बना सकते हैं. टेम्परेचर स्टेबल भी बनाएंगे विदाउट जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइंग, सो दैट ऑल द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ दैट स्ट्रेन इज रिटेन्ड एज इज. एंड उसके अलावा उसके जो लैक्टिक एसिड प्रोडक्शन है, उसका जो बैक्टीरियोसिंस या जो बैक्टीरियोसिंस हैं, जो पेप्टाइड्स हैं, एंटीमाइक्रोबियल पेप्टाइड्स हैं, या उसके जो भी एक रिक्वायरमेंट है प्रोबायोटिक रहने के लिए, इट इज मेंटेन्ड एज इज. So that is somewhere we brought a big change, though it's a niche technology, but at least we brought a change in the way the probiotics are doing. फायदा क्या होगा इसका, कमर्शलाइजेबल कैसे होगा? I'll take you to the next slide. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, let's take some competitive advantage. So now you have a technology. Now you found out what is the market problem. Now you found out what is the solution for that. But is there any competition to this technology? And if I say that I am the only one in the world who could have thought about it, I'm actually a dead person. It is not possible. Entrepreneurship की खासियत है. आज मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, हमारे पास सिर्फ स्ट्राइक भी हो रहा है हमको कि वी शुड डू दिस. देयर आर 10,000 पीपल हु हैव ऑलरेडी थॉट, ऑफ व्हिच 5,000 पीपल हैव एक्चुअली थॉट कि लेट मी डू समथिंग अबाउट इट. 500 people came around it to say, hey, you know what, this is possible, let me think about it. And out of 550 actually said, let me put up a lab and start doing it. And out of 50, at least 10 people have already done something different. They didn't do what we did, but they did bring something of a similar kind. And what was that? They had enteric coating done on these bacteria. What is enteric coating? Enteric coating is nothing but you take pyaj or onion, put it in the basin and just make pakoda out of it. So basin is covered with, the onion is covered with basin. That is exactly how the probiotics were covered with enteric coating material. What was the downside of it? The downside is you have to add a process. This process has to go in your stomach, and basically your stomach acid should break it so that the bacteria goes to intestine and does the work that it is doing. So competitive advantage. Can we go to the next slide, please? So competitive advantage definitely is there with this product. What was the competitive advantage? One, you did not have to add any process. It was a simple thing that you just made your bacteria convert them into high temperature. Second, it brought in the product stability, which otherwise the competition is not able to give, because they have only 12 mahine ka shelf life. We have 24 months, and in some cases we have even 36 months. Shelf life increase ho gaya. Supply chain mein they still have to use, even if they have enteric coated, they still have to use cold chain. We don't have to use cold chain. Label claim हमारे बेहतर हो गए. क्यों? क्योंकि now we don't have to use actually 200 billion and 300 billion. It is only that you require 5 billion, we can give 5.5 billion or 6 billion, just so that human errors से कुछ कम ना हो जाए. But other than that, it was easy for us to put it into a product. Life cycle management कैसे किया हमने इसका? तो we took this product and we added to different applications. सबसे बड़ा important जो हुआ है वो different applications which otherwise we couldn't have ever thought of. Obviously, this all went down and helped the cost of the good, that means the price, the technology is helping the manufacturers and the retailers, or even us when we are putting B2C products, to reduce the cost of the making of that material, so that now we take it and we go to the market. Either we can keep it at premium and make more money, or otherwise we can bring the same technology to the use of masses at a lesser cost. Can we go to the next slide? So once we had this understanding that what we have done is actually quite a big thing in the probiotic industry, the first thing we did was to file for patent. As you remember, in that 4 rings, we spoke about the patent. And the first thing I did was to go ahead and file an intellectual property. Why? Because obviously there was a lot of money spent on this, time spent on this, people's efforts gone into it. And definitely I would like to commercialize it, monetize it. And I needed exclusivity. Exclusivity से मेरा मतलब ये है कि somebody else across the road should not copy my technology and should not be in a position to say, hey, you know what, now I also can make probiotics temperature stable. So the first thing which we did was intellectual property. We filed patent in Canada, in India, in US and in Europe. And out of the 4 patents, the US patent came the earliest, that was in 2018. Then we got the European patent, and European patent is validated in 11 countries. And then we went on to get the Canadian patent. Indian, we still are waiting for that patent. But at the same time, the Australian and the Japanese patent also might come out soon. Once that happens, or even before that happens, basically we are covered under the WTO, and we are at right now, this technology remains only with us, and we have a global patent on the technology, which is a very important part when you are doing technology commercialization. क्यों? क्योंकि आप इतने efforts डालते हो, पैसा डालते हो, you should get exclusivity at least for 20 years before somebody takes it away from you. Can we go to the next slide, please? Manisha? So this is just a patent. I wanted to show how it looks like, just there is no other thing that I would like to say here, except that was the US patent, and we have similarly, we got even the Canadian and the European patent. But I just wanted to show to the students as to how a patent looks like. That's about it. Can we go to the next slide? So once it happened, can we go to the next slide, Manisha? I'll talk on this slide and the other one is same. So once it happened, then I started looking into कि भाई इतना सब हम कह रहे हैं probiotic, पर actually market है कितना इसका? And we realized that the market actually in 2018 was at 40 billion. Now we have the same thing at 64 billion or even more than that. And and this was 2019. I'm sorry, this slide is an old one. 2019 actually was 64 billion. And with Corona, I am very sure it has crossed 100 billion and above. It's even more. I don't have the recent statistics, but definitely it has caused. And the most important part, what I want to bring out on this one is that apart from Amul ice cream and apart from the cold chain that you are looking at, we also have some of the existing companies which are already doing this kind of things in the market, both for animal nutrition and human nutrition. But इस पाई में अगर आप देखते हो, जो ऊपर वाला पाई है उसमें आप देखते हो, तो 73% still goes for food. So food fortification is the most popular one, then the pharma, and then as an ingredient. So these are the 3 things which I wanted to show, that the market opportunity is humongous. For 64 billion की भी अगर 73% market opportunity है, जो otherwise nobody has been able to tap because they didn't have a temperature stable probiotic, you still are in a good shape to take this market and take this technology to the next level. Can we go to the next slide? So we needed to go now. Once we realized that what was the market pain, we found a solution. We found competitive advantage. We did the intellectual property. We also found the market opportunity. All the 5 steps are over. Now what? Now the thing next was how we go to the market. So GTM stands for go to market strategy. It's simple that now we have to take this technology and see how many applications can we do. ठीक है, I am very happy to say here all the big things that okay, my temperature they have become 240 degrees centigrade. 240 degrees centigrade ban gaye means what? Where am I supposed to use this 240 degrees centigrade? Or even lesser temperature agar mujhe lena hai, so what is it that I am bringing on table? So this go to market strategy, can we go to the next slide, will tell us that where all we are taking it. We could take this in food because you saw food में market opportunity ज़्यादा थी, so you could now bring the commercialization angle. Science खत्म हो जाता है यहाँ पर कि okay, you took a problem, you solved the problem, now you have to see how you can manage to sell it. So now it came into the commercialization problem, and that's why this technology commercialization was the title I gave. So what we did, we said okay, food market जो है उसमें regulations कम है. There are not too many things happening in food market. We can quickly get FSSAI का license ले लिया. As long as probiotics are considered safe to eat, we could quickly go into the market and start bringing in the revenues. And thinking that, we went into make the proof of concept. Can we go to the next slide? So first and foremost, we put it in gummies. Gummies is nothing but these chewables that you get. In America, wo bahut popular hai. And that's why actually the idea of taking into gummies, because US market was the first thing that I wanted to hit. Why? Because Yakult in this country, Yakult came in 2006. And Yakult actually a commercial product is there since 1935 in Japan, and Yakult came into this country in 2006, and from 2006 till 2020 we had two big brand ambassador. We had one Kajol, whose picture you saw, as well as we had another one Shilpa Shetty, both having 0 figures or a figure to look out for. All of at least girls want us to be in that shape, and so are the boys wanting to be in fit state. Even though with all these big people around, still we were not able to sell Yakult the way it should have sold in India. And that is why the other, because only one taste was something which not everybody picked up, and second thing was it was available only in few places. It was not available everywhere. So this is the reason I said, okay, if I have to monetize this technology, if I have to make money out of this technology, let me go to the countries which already know about it, so that I don't have to spend time doing that. Then I will educate again. I'll come back to India and I'll educate people here. And we did it in gummies. We took a commercial strain, Lactobacillus acidophilus, which we say freeze dried, and we took our strain, and when we made gummies, after making the gummies, we saw our strain was 100% there, while as the one which is in the fridge was not there. It was 0% there, which proved that yes, our strain had become temperature stable. Can we go to the next slide, please? We did the next obvious one was chocolate. You want to eat chocolate. You feel like eating chocolate in the night. Now you don't feel guilty. You are saying you are going to eat healthy chocolate. So why not put it in this? And we added the probiotics into chocolate. So another area. So one was gummies, one was chocolate. So confectionaries was the area in the food that we could go. We don't have any competition or much competition. I'll be naive to say that there is no competition. There is less competition, but at the same time, the competition is not so high that we cannot share the market. So that's why we found that both the gummies and the chocolates, that is the confectionaries, were easy to deal with to get the revenue back into the company. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so birthday parties and everything. Now, if you keep seeing it, gummies were at 70 degree, chocolate was at 80 degree. In the TSP strain in muffins, if you can see the slide, it is at 160 degree. And we said, okay, fine. The kids love to eat muffins, and this is new cupcakes are the new big flavor all in the town. Why don't we put it in this and see? And since we saw that our probiotics were stable at up to 80% for 15 minutes of baking with 160 degree, which we cannot even think in the regular probiotics, that is where we said, okay, fine, now we have another product. So food, I tried lots of different options, delivery vehicles, so that we know that in the food domain, we will have a better market share as we go forward, because not many people or very few people can go up to 70 degree, but none I have seen yet that can come beyond 100 degrees. Can we go to the next slide, please? So India is a chai country. चाय हम लोगों को कोई रीजन नहीं रहता पीने के लिए. मॉर्निंग इज चाय, दोपहर इज चाय, कोई आया तो चाय, कोई नहीं आया तो चाय, एंड वी ड्रिंक चाय एटलीस्ट 7 or 8 cups in the day. And at the end of the day, we feel little flatulence is there. We feel bloated. We feel uneasy about it. We said that, okay, can we put it in cookies. If you put it in cookies, with each chai, if you eat 2 cookies, these probiotics will reduce that flatulence. Will that be something that will be of interest for the market? And we converted it because, and you see the temperature now, it has gone to 180 degree, if you see it on the slide. So yes, we could make it stable up to 180 degrees. So we put it in the cookies, and that was another source of revenue for us. Can we go to the next slide? And then from here, we actually went into the higher temperature. Now we tried doing it at 220 degrees or 240 degrees. We started baking breads. Bread was something which everybody eats in the morning. If you're eating anyway, you're eating 2 slices of breads. People are so conscious about zero figure and healthy lifestyle and this and that. So your consumption of food is not anymore that big paratha wala, big breakfast. If you're trying to do something like that, in fact, I would like to do it even in paratha and see where I am in this place. But nevertheless, so in bread also, when we put it at 240 degrees centigrade, we saw that there is 60% viability. This kind of gave us lot of hope that food का कोई भी option दे दो हमें, we will be able to fortify that food with probiotics. And that is where we realized that food and probiotics can go together with this technology called strain boost technology, which otherwise is not possible. And why it is not possible is because the probiotics are not stable at all, and at room temperature even, which was an added advantage to us, and we have capitalized on that. Going forward, what we did was we took this thing and we said, okay, fine, all this is good. We put it in food. Food में ज़्यादा regulation नहीं है. चलो ठीक है. We will, as long as it is safe to eat, can we go forward and we see. Now we want to see actually if these probiotics are giving some added benefit also, not just increasing immunity or helping in digestion. What else can they do? We took this probiotic which are temperature stable, a combination of Plantarum and Rhamnosus, and we put it in patches, oral patches in the mouth for children who were from 7 to 15. And this was done only for 7 days, 14 days. And even today, after 3 years also, we do get these children there in our health clinics where we have done this clinical trial. And we saw that S mutans, that is the bad bacteria which causes actually caries, which causes actually बच्चों के दांत गिर जाते हैं, छेद हो जाते हैं, bad breath आता है. So for all those things, there is a bad bacteria which is called S mutans, and that bad bacteria S mutans were reduced in this clinical trial. We did it, and we saw that it was reduced by 98%. So that kind of gave us a lot of confidence that we have now a temperature stable strain, and we have a different delivery models, and this also has efficacy either in the oral or in digestion or increasing immunity. So we now migrated. So first line of income was food. Now next line of income was dietary supplement. Can we go to the next one, please? Next slide, please. Manisha, next slide. Okay, I'll keep going on wherever she will catch up with me because of some internet issue today that they have. I'll just keep going on and we'll see when she is able to change the slide. I'm very sure she will join. So once we had that, the next slide, which shows here, after we made all this food and the dietary supplement, it comes the GTM. So the GTM actually went through 2 things. What it went through, 3 things. What it did was that the GTM or go-to-market strategy actually took us through 3 things where we could do 1, services. Sitting in Mysore, if I say that I am going to change the world, it was a dumb thing that I could think of. So what we did was we went ahead and go back, Nikita, if you are there, just keep going back. Just further back. Yeah. So this is the slide. So when we knew that this is our go-to-market strategy, we said, "Arey, kahan se revenue aa sakte hain?" What we did, sitting in Mysore, if I say I'm going to change the consumer perception in America, I'm a biggest fool, I think so, in my life. That's why what I did was I said, okay, I will provide services to these people. Means what? People who are in the probiotic domain, they will give me their strain and we will convert them into temperature stable strain and give it back to them. So wherever they want to put in whatever they want to do. If a DuPont or CHR Hansen or Danisco or Lalamand or Yakult, they go out and say, you know what, we have a technology which is temperature stable, people are listening to them. If some company sitting in Mysore, if it's trying to say something, they will say, we have spent billions and billions of dollars, ma'am, we have still not got this result. I don't know whether you have a technology even or not. So even though after patent also I have heard these things. So as an entrepreneur, you have to go through this cycle of up and down, where you are very happy that you brought something up, but you are also not able to convince. You have to basically convince the people and say, hey, you know what, this is a new technology which has a value, and why not see the basis of it. So I started providing services not for earning money, but only because my technology was a niche technology and it needed to be accepted in the market. The second one which was there was from B2B. As I showed you how it is in the food and the dietary supplement, and also in animal nutrition, we were able to see. And then there was B2C. We have our own products also which goes into the market. Can we go to the next slide, please? So once we did this, we found a market pain, we found a solution, we found a competitive advantage, we found what intellectual property, we found market opportunity, we found the market also, the go-to-market strategy also. Now it needed to get implemented, right? नहीं तो सिर्फ बातें ही हैं, बातें करने के लिए कोई पैसा नहीं देता. And you have already spent crores of rupees coming to this level. Can we just go to the next slide, please? So this is where we actually formed. The Triphase Advantage is one such product which sells in the US market. This is our B2C product which sells into the US market. And next slide, please. I also took this temperature stable probiotics and I put it in a cap. My interest was to do this for armed forces in India. Why? Because armed forces in India, they are either in Siachen Glacier at -60, or they are in Rajasthan at +50. They are in the Air Force and they are taking the spin of their aircraft, or they are in the sea. When you saw very recently the cyclone where the Indian Navy people had to go. So the first thing which goes bad for all these people is their stomach. So I say, we thought here as a team, can we do something? Because now our probiotics are temperature stable. Now they are actually sitting there with at not 40 degrees or 50 degrees. We are good to go at 240 degree also. And plus they have a shelf life of 36 months or 24 months or 18 months, which depending on the species. So now that we have so many things in our hand, can we do something for the armed forces? And we came up with this innovative cap solution, where ये cap को ऊपर से जैसे काट दिया तो second picture is just a transactional picture where you can see that there are chambers inside those caps, and these chambers have, one has flavor, one has sugar or sweetener, one has the probiotic, and the fourth one has color. So if I'm sure the children of this age, I don't know whether they know it or not, but at least kids of our age, or people of our, not kids, people of our age, we knew a product called Rasna, and it tastes exactly like Rasna. So if it was a pineapple juice, the color also was pineapple, and the probiotic was also there, and you just have to press the cap so that the probiotic is released in the bottle, and you can just shake it and drink it. Can we go to the next slide? So there are different forms we did, as I told you already: gummies, cheese, chews, chocolates, bakery, and the power cap. These all things, several functional forms we brought in by using this probiotic. So not only it was in the probiotic as a food fortification, but also in the dietary supplement, apart from capsules and stick packs that we have. Can we go to the next slide? So finally, we come to the last point where we say revenue. How did we get our revenue? So first revenue came from the food fortification, where we put this food into different things. Then the second revenue line came from the B2C product that I just showed you. The third revenue line came from the integrated offerings which we did, wherein we went took people's strain and we provided them as services. So now what happens is this company stands on a very strong commercial or revenue input, because it is not just one area, but it is multiple areas. Not just multiple areas, we are also assured that this technology will not just die on the shelf, it will actually see products into the market. And this is what I meant when I said you have to have a technology and commercialization. So you take a technology, see multiple, take the technology, identifying the market pain, you make a solution out of it. That technology, you see a market opportunity, protect yourself first with intellectual property, and then you go into the market and implement it and make money. This is the whole journey of last 10 years that I had in my Triphase. Very, very proud to say, I don't think the rest of the things I take pride. I take pride in the whole journey, of course, but I don't think I should take the credit from my team. My team has worked really beautifully, but they came and believed me through on this journey in 2011 when we didn't even have the lab. We started from there. We actually constructed the lab, and from there we came to the stage that we are today, that people are seeing the outcome of it and seeing that this technology is maturing enough to get multiple revenue sources. Can we go to the next slide? So this is our probiotic facility in Mysore, India, and as I said, we do R&D, product development, clinical validation, and we do commercial supplies also. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, I also wanted to convert. Initially, when I started, I said there were women entrepreneurs and technology commercialization and a women entrepreneur. And I think we did justice to that part. But I just want to leave kids with a couple of things. Everything is all honky and dorky. Talking about all these big things is going to be, you might say, ma'am, agreed with you, but it's सबके लिए पैसा लगता है. Agree with you, 100% agree with you that भी पैसा लगता है इसके लिए. And where is it that you can get? Because you are in a industry which is brick and mortar. Brick and mortar से क्या मतलब है कि you need a lab before you can start thinking of revenue or thinking of technology. You can't start making money just like anything. I have nothing against IT people, but just 3 people, 4 computers, or 4 people, 3 computers, and you make Facebook finding out what the pados wale ghar ki auntie which sabji she is making, and you make billions. Sometimes it makes me feel a little uneasy. Because here, even to do something or even to dream that you could bring out something value or of substance, you need to put at least 1 crore out there. So that is why I believe me, MSME, that is micro, small, medium enterprise, that department is my stress buster. If I find that I always have 3 months ka cash flow in my place, and if I find that 3 months ka cash flow ke baad 4th month ka cash flow nahi rahega, I simply sit on that website and find one reason that government will give me money, and they have been giving. Government does a lot. If you want to do anything in your life, there couldn't be a better time and space to be in India, especially under this government, where you can really take advantage of government schemes. You have to be patient, you have to work through it, but there is a high likelihood that you will succeed. Can we go to the next slide, please? So different funding options come from debt funding, angel funding, VC funding, PA. Next slide, please. VC funding, PE funding, and other ones. What is debt funding? Debt funding is nothing but you go to the bank and ask them to give you money. But under this, actually since 2011, the government has started something called CGTMSE scheme. And you know, these slides, last 4 slides, I'm not showing too many because I really need another hour actually to make you understand how to use these funding opportunities. I'm just telling you very briefly so that in case any one of you, whoever is here listening to it, really get inspired enough to say, hey, you know what, I want to start this company or I want to be in part of something like this, I can go one-to-one with them and help them to get fundings of different types. So I'm just giving a basic idea. So in debt funding up to 1 crore, when I started my company, at least it was 1 crore. Now you are getting up to 2 crores under CGTMSE scheme, where you do not have to give any collateral. Bank tumko ek paisa nahi deta without putting something in their pocket. But this is the only scheme for entrepreneurs where they are set, Startup India ho, no, Kaunsa bhi India ho, they give you this opportunity that you don't have to give any collateral to it. Can we go to the next slide? Then you have the angel funding, and the angel funding goes up to 2.5 crores per equity. कई बार share करना पड़ता है, or otherwise unless your papa gives you money or your family, some chacha or mama or tayaji or your grandfather or grandmother gives you money, there is nothing called angel funding. Everybody, whoever is putting money, they want a share back. There is also a new term which has come called crowdfunding, where the business incubators and accelerators are helping people to generate the money. Then there is VC funding, and VC funding is Series A, Series B, C, D, and it goes into PE funding and IPO and whatnot. But in my case, I have gone through the debt funding. I started my journey with taking a 1 crore ka loan from the bank. And if you need to ask me as to which is the best way of doing it, believe me, take a loan from the bank. Because once you take a loan from the bank, you become financially very, very disciplined. Otherwise, because bank will not leave you. Bank will simply come every morning, every second of the month. They will come and stand in front of you saying, either you pay us our interest or otherwise we will take away the equipment and hypothecate it. Unless that pressure is there initially, especially when you are starting the industry, when you are a first generation, or even if you are not a first generation, still when you are starting business on your own, try to see that you have a financial responsibility of returning back that loan. The moment you do that you have to return back the loan, you become very serious and you find 20 other ways of working with using less money. I did that. I got angel funding also up to 5 crores. And then I went for VC funding. Why did I go for VC funding? Was not because I wanted money. More so, I wanted it because unless and until a business house validates that, yes, you have technology which can be sold into the market, and they put their hand behind your back to say, go in the front, don't worry about day-to-day hassles. We will take care of it, but make sure that this technology succeeds and commercializes or monetizes. That is where we was required, and that's why we raised $2.5 million in VC funding, Series A, hopefully going to Series B in few years, and then we will see how we can close this out. Can we go to the next slide, please? But one thing please understand, and next slide please. One thing please understand, whether you get money from bank, whether you get money from angel, whether you get money from VC, it becomes your responsibility. This money is not coming free to you. Use this money as if you had 10 whatever they gave you, you had 10 paisa or 10 rupees or 10% or 100% less than what they gave you, and you try to do this. So what is MSME? So what I do is, according to my theory, and which has worked for me, is that I say money saved is money earned. So anything and everything, wherever I can save money, I would like to save it. And the people who have been very helpful to me in my journey is MSME people, wherein micro, small, medium enterprise for manufacturing sector, micro is 25 lakhs of investment, small is 5 crores, medium is 10 crores. Same thing in service industry also, you have different numbers that you can go ahead with. But at the same time, next slide, please. At the same time, they have for different set of companies, they have different set of rules, and these are all the MSME schemes that I have used. Not all actually, but most of it. So credit guarantee fund for micro small enterprise is the CGTMSE scheme, where I got loan without collateral. I was not burning my house and trying to do a business because I was the first generation entrepreneur. Then trade related entrepreneurship assistance and development. यहाँ पर तो इतना मदद करते हैं MSME schemes के through कि you guys should take maximum advantage of, and it is our prerogative as entrepreneurs to use all these schemes to our benefit. If we don't do it, nobody is going to help us out. You have to find ways and means by not doing wrong things, but by trying to find out some positive things or legal things which can help you get back your money. So even in trade related entrepreneurship, I'll tell you how I got back my money. We were doing barcoding. So in the barcoding, they said, okay, 70,000 kharcha aega. Okay, fine. For 70,000, as a regular entrepreneur, if a man would have applied, he would have got 70% reimbursement. But as a woman entrepreneur, I got 95% reimbursement. Now, isn't it great that if I'm spending 70,000, only 5% is going from my pocket, rest all is coming back. Same thing on the end, if you see, there is marketing assistance and technology upgradation. Marketing assistance is when you go abroad in the trade shows. If suppose I have to go to US and put my trade show or my booth, just giving you an example, that I spent 1 lakh rupee. going, coming, staying, giving that trade show wale ko paisa, put my booth, put all the other things, flyers, freebies, all these things mila ke, suppose, and of course it goes beyond 1 lakh, but I'm just telling 1 lakh hata hai. As a male, as a guy, or as a man out there, they gets 80% reimbursement, but as a woman I get back 95%. अगर मैंने 1 लाख की लागत में डाला है और 95,000 95,000 comes back to me, I cannot tell you what more the government has to do. I mean, I think they do a very good job of it. सेम थिंग इज इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स. आपको दिखाया है अभी तक कि आई हैव दिस पेटेंट एंड दैट पेटेंट. ऑल दिस पेटेंट का जो फाइलिंग फीस है बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है. ईच पेटेंट वाज 10 lakhs एंड अबव. एज अ स्मॉल एंटरप्रेन्योर, स्मॉल बिजनेस वाले के पास कहां से आएंगे इतने पैसे? बट गवर्नमेंट गिव्स यू बैक एग्जैक्टली द सेम अमाउंट. सो इफ इंडियन पेटेंट जैसे हमारा आता है तो हमें 2 लाख रुपए मिल जाते हैं. अगर हमारे बाहर के कोई जो यूएस, यूरोप और कनाडा के जो पेटेंट है, ऑन ईच पेटेंट वी गॉट 10 लाख रुपीज बैक. सो दिस इज हाउ द गवर्नमेंट हैज इंसेंटिव स्कीम्स. आप कुछ करिए तो सही, गवर्नमेंट इज देयर टू हेल्प यू आउट विद मेनी मोर थिंग्स एंड यू कैन लुक आउट इन. आई कैन गो ऑन एंड ऑन. Seriously, I can take 1 more hour explaining you each of these schemes. Credit linked capital subsidy, it's one of the most beautiful schemes that I have seen. You buy an equipment, import कर रहे हो, उसके ऊपर आपको सब्सिडी देते हैं. Government is trying to do a lot. It is us as entrepreneurs who have to find out a way to take use and make use of these schemes to take it forward. I can, if need be, get in touch through Manisha ma'am. She knows my email address. She has my phone number. Whoever wants these details, I can share it with you. Otherwise, this whole topic itself is 1 hour or more than that, actually. So today I leave you with this idea that what is technology, how you assess a technology, how you take that technology assessment into your fold, how you protect yourself, and then look at it, the commercialization part. And in this whole journey of technology to commercialization, we have so many agencies who have helped us. I cannot thank them enough. And most important, I think my team who stood by me and believed me that there is a possibility of creating this dream and making it happen. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. It is absolute pleasure and privilege that you guys heard me so aram se, and I'm very much happy if there are lots of questions. I will leave you only with one thing because women entrepreneurship के बारे में बोलने को बोला था, तो इस कारण से ये मुझे एक जो वो phrase है which I like it in women entrepreneurship. You do not know a lady. A lady is just like a tea bag. Until you put it in hot water, you do not know what she can do and what she cannot do. If coming from a tier 2 or a tier 3 city, Ujjain, which did not have too much of exposure, and a middle class family parents who will not go into business or where risk averse, if there is a company called Triface be made and has come this far, I don't know whether I'm a success story yet. Lots of things I want to do before I can say that this is a success story. But if I could come to this far, I'm pretty sure you all can do it. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Absolute privilege and pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you so much, madam, and sorry for the inconvenience due to the network issue. It was a very informative session, madam, and entrepreneurship has been a buzzword in the current economic scenario. So it's important for us to talk about it as we are academician and inviting young generation to focus more and more on entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, madam. If any participant has any questions or query regarding this session, can ask.
Good evening, madam. And madam, it's a in fact, I'm very happy to hear from you again after Indore.
Yes, sir.
Parul University, madam. So thank you for coming over here. Madam, I have got one question, that how we can make a bacteria thermostable without genetic manipulation. I need to know about the platform technology that you are telling about.
So what happens is we have this proprietary fermentation media which allows heat stable proteins to be more expressed. So we actually push those genes without changing the genetic modification. We don't change the genes, but we push the genes so that they secrete more of heat stable proteins on the cell wall, because of which they become stable.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. As a token of appreciation, I would like to felicitate Madam with his certificate on the behalf of Parul University. Please accept it, Madam.
Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure.
I am presenting my screen. You can see.
Sure.
So all the participants will get the certificate after the filling the feedback form link and receive the feedback form. You have to fill it. Other important announcement is that there will be a webinar series on 8 June under the theme of the Women Entrepreneurship and Research Challenges and Opportunities. Topic of that webinar series 2 is a role of probiotics in health improvement, infection control, and disease treatment and management. Okay. So thanks to everyone for presenting here. We will meet again in webinar series 2. Okay. Hereby, I am concluding today's webinar. Thanks a lot, all. Thank you so much, Madam, for coming here, and thank you for your precious time. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Dr. Lalitlata Jha, ma'am. It is absolute pleasure, and I'm very looking forward to set the next one in context, that is on probiotics and other areas. Definitely, I'll look forward to the second seminar also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Madam.